You hear that glass break? That means it's time to welcome to the show Austin Price of Volquest.com. He joins us every week thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, thank you for the time as always. We've talked here in the last few weeks about this month, the next couple of months being very important for Tennessee football recruiting. What stands out here so far this week and what you've heard about prospects who have seen Knoxville recently that are interested in Tennessee? What are the headlines right now?
Well, we'll talk about two of the headliners last weekend. For what I think was kind of a low-key junior day, it didn't have a ton of big-time guys at it, but, I thought Tennessee did a really good job with Peyton Lewis, running back out of the state of Virginia. Really is as impressive a kid mentally, just the way he spoke, just kind of his thought process on things, because I've been around in a long time. His speed is something everybody raves about. I've not seen it in person. I've seen his film. If it matches, that, then, really good-looking prospect, someone who's rising on Tennessee's running back board by the day. And then Bodie Cahoon, who right now currently is committed for lacrosse, but has become more of a football prospect, the last, 2-3 months, and coming off what was a really successful junior year. Both kids from the state of Virginia. Cahoon started out his career at safety, has since moved to linebacker, and if you kind of go on Twitter and look at his pictures, Josh Heupel's a big guy. He's as big as Josh Heupel. He's a bigger backer, an inside backer, good-looking kid. Again, both out of the state of Virginia. And really when you think about, what Tennessee's trying to do, Georgia's always going to be important. Obviously, Tennessee's always going to be important. But I think, getting in North Carolina more, getting in Virginia more, these are places that Tennessee used to recruit back in the 90s and early 2000s and kind of got away from that after Philip Fulmer got fired. And, they dabbled here and there, but the last few years, even dating back to Coach Pruitt's last class, they were way more involved in specifically North Carolina, but, Virginia too. And so I think getting back in those areas is a smart move for Tennessee.
Austin Price, Volquest.com, is with us. What do you think is the priority from Tennessee's coaching staff's standpoint right now on the recruiting trail in terms of big picture, or maybe if you want to look at what they're trying to get done over the next 6 to 8 weeks and then see what they have, what they need to do next in recruiting?
Well, just continue to build momentum. You'd love to add, I think you'd love to add an early piece in the trenches, an offensive lineman. I think you'd love to add, more help in the secondary. Edmund Spillman, someone who, when talking about March and April being big, I thought he would come off the board then. It feels like now you're looking more at June or early July for him. I think he's going to take an official visit to Tennessee in June, going to take an official visit to Ohio State in June. And I still think Tennessee's in the best spot to land him. Of course, his brother is a part of this past class, and I just don't see those two guys separating. But at the same time, his timetables, to me, gotten pushed back some compared to what I think everybody thought was going to be a spring decision. I think you're looking now at early summer.
J.J. Harrell, receiver from Mississippi, committed a couple days ago, seems to be very, very vocal and active in recruiting other guys to come to Tennessee. Do you think so far, he's probably the most active recruiter with this 2024 class?
Yeah, he is. Caleb Beasley's done a nice job. Carson Gentleman works at it. Don't see Jonathan Eccles do too much, but JJ's been really vocal since he got in the boat, and I would expect him to continue to work guys, especially guys from the state of Mississippi, whether it be Camarion Franklin, defensive lineman that Rodney Garner and them covet so much, or a Daniel Hill, running back that Jerry Mack would love to get to campus here over the next few weeks from the state of Mississippi. But, I expect him to stay active, and, every year you have one or two guys that are really, really bell cows when it comes to, staying in touch with guys, working guys, using social media to get the fans revved up on a prospect, and JJ just seems like one of those top players.
Austin Price, Volquest.com. Where do things stand with Caleb Beasley? In-state guy, Tennessee commit, but also other options that he could still look at.
Well, I think he's going to take some visits. He's been saying that since he committed. I still think Tennessee's going to be tough to beat. I'm not going to say that, he can't flip. I just think that ultimately, unless something goes really awry, I think Tennessee's going to always stand the best chance to hold on to Caleb Beasley. But I think he does himself some good by, at least keeping the lines of communication open and making sure that all the I's are dotted and T's are crossed. And I still think Tennessee's the team there, but obviously Auburn, Notre Dame, and a few others are taking a swing there. And again, I think he'll take some visits over the next few months. But from all accounts, Tennessee's still in pretty good shape there based off people I've spoke to.
Give the good people listening start date of spring football, and then what are you looking for this spring? A lot of early enrollees here. You have the spring game. $5 is going to be the cover charge for those in attendance, with a lot of activities announced that will be taking place in and around Neyland Stadium. But give us the start date of spring and kind of what you think about some of the news coming out of Tennessee about the spring orange and white game.
Yeah, spring practice is, it's going to be a little more exciting this year because there are so many early enrollees here, and there's a lot more transfers. I mean, I'm excited to see Dante Thornton. I'm excited to see Keenan Peely. I'm excited to see Gabe Judy Lally or Omar Norman Lott, John Campbell. I mean, that's just the transfers. That don't count Nico, John Slaughter, Cam Selden, Jordan Matthews, Ricky Gibson, Nathan Laycock. I mean, you can go right down the list. I mean, there's just a ton of, new faces. And so the last couple of springs, I mean, like last year when there was no stadium because they were, redoing stuff, and they had like the spring scrimmage over there. It was just like, the worst thing of all time. And now it's like, man, how do you not get excited to kind of go see some of these new faces? And, like I said, Dante Thornton's drawn a ton of praise. Caleb Herring's put on near 25 pounds since he got here. He's 206 when he got here. He's, almost 230 now, 228-ish. I mean, Arion Carter, Jeremiah T. Lander. I mean, I can keep going. I mean, it's just a lot of. I think that anytime you have a lot of newness, there's some excitement there, and of course, I mean, everybody's excited about Nico, and everybody's excited for Joe after his performance in the Orange Bowl. So, I think this spring is an exciting time, and for fans, $5. I get the people that don't want to pay anything. I get the Tennessee stance on charging a small fee to help with some stadium renovations. I mean, it's all on how you want to look at things, and I think the biggest thing for Tennessee is you just want to put on a good show for the fans, because if they're going to pay, then you want them to have value in that. And a lot of times the spring game in recent years loses a lot of value after the first 15 minutes or so. Like, the play calling goes down, how they're playing goes kind of, down a little bit. People are ready to just get out the door. And, I think you just want to, if you're a fan, you want to get bang for your buck. But I don't think that'll hurt. It's not a big enough fee that it's going to hurt attendance in any shape or form or fashion, unless you've got, a family at, 10 people, and then, it might change at that point.
You've covered Nico as well as anyone in the last year. There was a article written a couple days ago from a national standpoint, talking about the expectations of Nico coming in as a freshman. What are reasonable expectations? Because I'm looking at Joe Milton as being the guy right now until Nico proves otherwise. But there might be a narrative out there outside of the Tennessee bubble that Nico is expected to come in and beat Joe Milton out day one. What do you say?
You talking about the Dennis Dart article?
Yeah. Thanks for being direct, AP.
Well, I mean, let's call it what it is. Dennis going to write it, put his name on it, and just stand behind it. You want to get out there and make silly comments. And, I mean, I think that's silly. I don't know anybody at Tennessee that's saying any form or anything close to what Dennis wrote in that article. And, kids never been to a real competitive practice yet. I mean, the stuff at the bowl game wasn't a competitive practice for any of those early enrollees. It was just kind of dipping your feet in, doing some individual, and kind of seeing how everybody goes to work. And everybody I've spoke to, which is from the top on down, let's put it that way, is real impressed by, everything Nico has brought to the table at this point. But you're right, Jason. I think, maybe for some that are outside the bubble, they don't understand that, Joe's going to be the guy. Now, it's on Joe to hold on to the job. I know they're saying it's open competition and stuff, but Joe goes in as the favorite to be Tennessee's quarterback this fall. And, it'll be on Joe to fend everybody off, and especially Nico. And, it's one of those things where I think, the more Nico, is around everyone, the more, people really, really, love him up a lot. I mean, I know there are several people over there that, just kind of saw the big family that rolls into town with, 30 people and stuff, and they didn't really know the kid until he got on campus, and they just love how much he loves the game. He asks questions. He asks questions to Joe Milton. He asks questions to the staff. He asks questions to everybody. He wants to know why they do things. He dives into the playbook. He's constantly working. But again, I think that, the notion is here that Joe Milton will be the man, and we'll see if Joe can play well enough to hold on to it. If he does, then I think that's a good thing for Nico. Hey, one less thing to have to worry about freshman year, and can kind of just gear up towards that 2024 year.
Austin Price, he hears the real whispers from over on campus. He knows what's going on the recruiting trail, and as Tennessee gets ready for spring practice, he and his colleagues will have you covered at Volquest.com.
I see Tennessee recruits.
Every week right here on Josh and Swain, Austin Price joins us thanks to Rick Terry Jewelry Designs, making it unique, making it special, making it just for you. I want to be your jeweler right there at Rick Terry Jewelry Designs. Austin, thank you for the time and the insight, as always, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Austin.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.